Wow, how did she do that? Gee, let me show you. Let's get right into the details. Here comes Enos to explain.
Okay, starting with the context. Elizabeth Braddock, who is later known as Psylocke, or her warrior persona Quanon, she first gained her powers after being in a plane crash with the doctor that supposedly killed her parents. After being brainwashed and given the name Psylocke, she was rescued by the X-Men, where she recovered. After joining their team, she was sent to China, where she later met her alternate persona, Quanon. Her whole story kind of revolves around her ability to use telekinesis and transform into her alternate persona. Now to bio!
Psylocke has many powers that stem from her mutations, including telepathy, invisibility, force fields, and of course, the most well-known, a telekinetic katana, or also known as a sword, as well as overall super strength and telekinetic powers. A mutant is an organism or new genetic character arising or resulting from an instance of mutation, which is an alteration of the DNA sequence of the genome or the chromosome of an organism. Mutations can also cause a change in other nucleic acids within the genome, such as RNA, which can alter human characteristics.
Psylocke was in a relationship with Phantom X, who was cloned. During a mission, Phantom X's body becomes severely injured when he tries to save Psylocke from Shadow King, who is trying to mind control her. Phantom X's body dies, but he has 3 brains that were recovered. Then the X-Force, a team of superheroes that Psylocke is a part of, puts the 3 brains in a cloning machine. The cloning machine makes a mistake and creates a clone for each brain rather than the body for all 3 brains. Shortly after, Psylocke and the newly cloned Phantom X are in a relationship that lasts a few months. There are 3 types of cloning: gene cloning, reproductive cloning, and therapeutic cloning. The type of cloning that happened with Phantom X is called reproductive cloning because the entire organism is being cloned rather than the cloning of a single gene or cloning stem cells to replace diseased ones. Today, the ethics surrounding artificial human cloning are being widely debated, and there is a lack of resources to clone entire humans. So, the likelihood of human cloning or a cloning machine in real life is unlikely. However, animal cloning for agricultural purposes does occur in real life, as well as natural cloning in form of twins.
Now, let's move on to chemistry.
The most common way for a superhero to acquire powers is through exposure to dangerous radiation and cosmic rays from space. This, in theory of the plot from X-Men, alters the character's genetic code, giving traits such as super strength, armor-like skin, or animalistic abilities or traits. Specifically, Psylocke gains her powers through radiation. Here on Earth, we typically encounter radiation in 3 forms: heat, visible light, and sound. But in most cases, the intensity levels are too low to be considered harmful. To acquire superpowers, you would need a place steeped in high-energy radiation. Such a source is about 600 to 12,000 miles outside Earth, in the Van Allen radiation belt. If the energy level is strong enough, then it can pass through solid barriers, like our skin. For example, the catalyst for Psylocke's mutation was solar radiation, but in real life is very unlikely. Now onto the physics behind Psylocke.
One of Psylocke's superpowers is telekinesis. Telekinesis is the production of motion in objects without contact or other physical means. Psylocke uses telekinesis to levitate herself and others, defying Earth's gravitational force. Psylocke can use her telekinetic powers to create a shield to stop bullets. The average bullet has a muzzle energy of 463 joules, as it leaves the muzzle of a firearm. She also uses her powers to augment her strength and speed, increasing her agility in her battles. On to exercise science.
Because Psylocke has the superpower of telekinesis, she is able to use her telekinetic powers to help her conserve her energy and sustain and recover from multiple injuries while still being able to fight as efficiently. Humans have a high capacity to expend energy for many hours during sustained exertion, And since she is able to conserve her energy by using her telekinetic powers, it gives her the upper hand in battles because she has more stamina. For example, because she is able to use telekinesis to levitate herself, she does not expend the energy it would have otherwise taken her to move from one place to another. Additionally, because she is able to create shields to protect herself from bullets, that also helps her maintain her wellness without getting shot. In an interview with People magazine, Olivia Munn, the actress who played Psylocke in X-Men Apocalypse, talks about the 12 pounds she lost unintentionally while preparing for the role. She had to learn both martial arts and sword fighting. She said that she started training every day with taekwondo and sword work, as well as stunt and wire work, and ended up losing 12 pounds just from working out each day.
Oh, I didn't see you there. But now that we're here, let me explain about computer science. In Marvel movies, visual effects are essential to attracting movie watchers and developing the plot. In order for action movies to create effective visual effects, they must use computer science. For Psylocke and in the X-Men series, the visual effects are provided by moving picture company and Hydraulics. What they do for the visual effects is computer-generated imagery, which is more commonly known as CGI. CGI is the use of computer graphics to create three-dimensional images and special effects in both live-action and animated productions. In order to be effective, CGI transmissions must contain header messages expressing the return program's data type. In these programs, computer scientists and designers go through an explicit and detailed process in order to create the most realistic computer-generated imagery. Their first step is to make a script. In this step, all the backgrounds, characters, dialogue, and poses that are going to be used in the scene are put in chronological order. The next step is to make a storyboard. In this step, a scene is drawn out in several 2D drawings, showing a rough idea of the environments, characters, and camera angles that you would see in the finished film. Designers sketch and draw many different versions of what they want in order to eliminate the bad ideas. This makes the transition between 2D to 3D smoother because the programmers won't have to waste time converting a lot of drawing into 3D. The following step is to make a layout. The characters and backgrounds for the scene get rendered in 3D in this step. Animators use computers to build a basic model of each 3D character in the scene. Characters are placed in the correct spots and the camera angles for every frame are decided. Then a rough cut of the scene is played out in 3D. The next step is to annotate a rough draft. The basic character models are now posed and moved to their finalized movements. Everything from mouth flaps to footsteps are created at this stage. In order to create the illusion of movement, an image displayed on the computer scene then quickly replaced by a new image that is similar to the previous image, but shifted slightly using some type of loop while programming. For the limbs, eyes, mouth, and clothes of the figure, the animator moves them on different keyframes. The differences in appearance between keyframes are automatically calculated by the computer in a process known as tweening or morphing. The final step is the final revision. More complicated parts of CGI, such as hair, lighting, and textures, are placed onto the animation. Textures are placed on various surfaces in order to give them a more believable look. For example, rough surfaces are given bumps, smooth surfaces look shiny and reflective. As we see here, this process was used to make Psylocke's telekinetic sword, which she uses in battle constantly. Without CGI, Psylocke's powers would not be as appealing to the eye.
Wow, I have learned so much throughout that presentation. And I've learned so much about the complexities around Psylocke. I thank you for watching this presentation. And now I will go back to watching the beautiful Psylocke.